holidays while I was banned from showing my face. My mother had the audacity to tell me, "Stop being such a drama queen, they're meant to be together." My brother, smirking like a complete moron, says, "Face it, she chose the superior guy." And my old man? He drops this brutal line on me. "Stop your pathetic crying, that woman was always way above your pay grade." I simply smirked, stared them down without blinking, and declared, "Appreciate you revealing who you really are. Now I know exactly who to erase from my life without any guilt." Half a year passed before I unleashed chaos that completely shattered our family dynamics. Suddenly, my phone won't stop buzzing with their desperate attempts to reach me. "We're begging you. You're literally our last hope for any communication. All right, let me take you back to where this nightmare started, because I'm still losing my mind over it." I'm bouncing between rage, total confusion, and this weird emotional shutdown where I can't even process what happened. This whole disaster is so insane that if someone told me this story, I'd call BS immediately. But here I am, living through it like some twisted reality show. I need to dump all this mental garbage somewhere before I completely lose it. Things started going sideways with that nagging feeling in my gut. You know, when something feels off, but you don't have the receipts to prove it, that uneasy vibe hung around for weeks like a bad smell. Rosalie, my supposed bride-to-be, morphed into a full-on phone zombie. Not the usual mindless scrolling. I'm talking constant texting like her thumbs were on fire. And every time I came near, boom, screen flipped faster than a guilty kid hiding candy. So I asked, "What's with the ninja phone tricks?" She rolls her eyes and says, "Relax, babe, it's just the group chat." Yeah, right, because group chats suddenly require a top-secret clearance? I shrugged it off like a fool. Thought being chill made me a good fiancé. Turns out it just made me the perfect sucker. Atlas just strutted back into town like some smug hometown legend, and suddenly everyone's acting like he cured cancer. Seriously, he shows up, flashes that dumb grin, and people melt. The guy could knock over a building and they'd still be like, "Oh, that's just Atlas being Atlas." Me? I've always been the afterthought. The guy you remember when your first option flakes. I don't hate him, but come on, let's not pretend he's anything but a pampered joke. Life's handed him everything on a silver platter while I've been stuck cleaning up his messes and playing second string since birth. So now Rosalie's suddenly playing Airbnb host to him, helping him settle in and tour the city. I didn't question it at first. My family's weirdly up in each other's business, and she always got along with him. But then it started happening constantly. One day I called her and she claimed she was at home alone, but I clearly heard Atlas laughing in the background. I figured maybe she just didn't want me tagging along. I brushed it off. I mean, it's not like I expected my fiancé and my own brother to be sneaking around. I'm not a paranoid psycho. I just trusted her. But then dumb little things started piling up. She'd dodge my invites, saying she had to help my mom or she wasn't feeling well. Then post pictures out at dinner. Not with me, of course. And in one of them, I saw Atlas's ridiculous red jacket in the background, the same one he always wears like a high school tryhard. At that point, I started feeling crazy, but I still didn't believe they were doing anything shady. Just thought they were being weird and maybe immature. Then came the gut punch. We've got a family group chat, like most people, and my mom starts hyping up Christmas plans. I've never missed a single one, always hosted at my parents' place. But this year, all I get is some half-baked text, no call, of course, telling me to maybe sit this one out, because apparently my presence would make things awkward. I'm staring at my phone like, what on earth is this nonsense? I scroll through the chat and see my dad and Atlas both playing peacemaker, like I'm the problem, talking about being civil and not creating drama. So I hit up Rosalie and she sends back, "I'm sorry, it's for the best." Excuse me? I call my mom straight up because I'm done with this spineless texting. She answers and doesn't even hesitate. "Don't be petty. They love each other now. You need to get over it." My brain just short-circuited. I asked, "You're really saying this?" And she goes, "Yes, Atlas and Rosalie are together. It's serious. You should be happy for them." I let out the most bitter laugh and said, "This a joke?" And then, like the smug clown he is, Atlas jumps in and says, "She made the right choice. Just take the loss like a man." I swear, I almost drove over there ready to break something. Instead, I checked the group chat again. Yeah, they'd already voted me off the island. No invite, no family, nothing. Then my dad sends me a one-on-one message. "You never deserved her anyway. Stop being such a crybaby." That one didn't even sting. It just hollowed me out. So I went back to my apartment. Thankfully, most of my stuff was still packed, since I'd been planning to move in with Rosalie after the holidays. Instead, I shoved it all in my car and crashed at a buddy's place. Not even a close friend, just someone with a spare room who doesn't ask questions. I sat in my car outside their house for a solid 10 minutes, staring blankly at my phone, rereading the same gut-punch texts. Didn't call anyone. Didn't respond to anyone. Just dropped one message in the family group chat. Appreciate the clarity. Now I know who you really are. Makes cutting ties effortless. And that was it. I was done. Deleted the chat. Blocked Atlas. Blocked my parents. And yeah, blocked Rosalie too. No dramatic breakdown, no screaming into the void. Just hollow, then rage, then full-blown fury. I couldn't believe I let them walk all over me for this long. But truth is, this wasn't out of nowhere. It's always been Atlas getting the golden ticket while I got stuck holding the leftovers. I was the sidekick to his main character energy. Not anymore. I'm done playing the family filler. I messaged a couple friends just to let them know I'd peaced out. They hit me with the whole, "Are you sure? Maybe it's a big misunderstanding." Right. Because betrayal this clean-cut just has to be accidental. People like to pretend their families couldn't possibly suck this hard. But mine? Oh, they've always been toxic. They just used to be sneakier about it. Now they're loud and proud. I never went back to my parents' place. Didn't even bother. They kept texting me like nothing happened. Then, a cousin tells me Atlas and Rosalie strolled into Christmas like they were prom royalty. Everyone acted like it was perfectly normal. My mom even posted a pic of them on Facebook with a caption that read, "So proud of these two FRFR." I guess I was just a placeholder. The stand-in guy. The convenient scapegoat. Atlas is the golden child. Rosalie wants someone with a spotlight. My folks want the trophy son to have it all. I was just background noise. But now I finally see it. And what really gets me? How easy it was for them to toss me aside. No argument, no drama. Just a collective shrug and, well, peace out, like I never mattered. But I'm not the type to roll over and eat it. That's not who I am. I'm pissed, and I want them to feel every ounce of what they made me feel. I'm not sure exactly what the next move is yet, but believe me, I've got ideas. I know what matters to them. And it's not just emotions. Nope, I'm not breaking any laws. But there's no way I'm just quietly disappearing like I never existed. That chapter's closed. They made their decision. Now I'm making mine. Those first few days after the fallout felt like I was living in a twisted, alternate version of my own life. Like the real world just glitched out. I kept half expecting a text saying, "Surprise, just kidding, gotcha." But nah, nothing. Well, not nothing. There was plenty of indirect noise. The kind of silence where everyone's talking about you, just not to you. I got a few buzzes from old group chats, but no one reached out directly. Instead, I saw my cousin Helen posting about family bonding, including a cozy photo of Atlas and Rosalie at the Christmas table. My mom in the background beaming like she just hit the jackpot. Yeah, I blocked them. But the damage was done. The image burned into my brain like acid. Crashing in a buddy's spare room, living out of boxes. It sucked just as much as you'd imagine. I didn't even unpack. Half my life stayed jammed in the car because I couldn't bring myself to explain why everything I owned was shoved in the trunk. My friend didn't pry, just tossed me a key and pointed toward the fresh towels. Honestly, that quiet was the kindest thing anyone could have given me. I spent hours on my phone, mindlessly scrolling TikToks just to stay distracted, but everything kept triggering memories, their voices, their faces. I ended up deleting the app for a while. That whole first week, I was a zombie, barely ate, didn't talk to anyone. Then Sarah, an old friend, texted me, "You okay?" I told her I was fine because, honestly, I didn't want to unpack the emotional dumpster fire. She sent back a single thumbs up. That was it. People get weird when stuff like this happens. They don't know what to say, so they say nothing. But I couldn't stop thinking about how easily my family dumped me, like they were waiting for an excuse to side with Atlas. Rosalie was just the cherry on top. Deep down, I always knew my parents saw Atlas as the one with the future, the shining star. He was the one they showed off. Even as kids, when I had a win, they'd be like, "That's nice, but did you hear what Atlas did?" No matter what I did, I was always second string. So once the shock faded, the anger came in hard. the kind that burns in your gut. I realized I spent years letting them treat me like the understudy. I did favors, paid bills, fixed their Wi-Fi, ran errands, all the boring stuff they never thanked me for. Just expected it. Atlas never had to lift a single finger for anything. My mom once hit me with, "You're just more reliable," like that was supposed to be some kind of compliment. What she really meant was, "We pile everything on you because your brother's a walking disaster and we know you'll shut up and deal with it." But I wasn't just dependable. I was the family handyman, tech support, emergency backup, and doormat. Every chore, every errand, every annoying adult task dumped on me because nobody else could be bothered. Case in point, my parents own this crusty little rental a few blocks away. Years ago, they begged me to co-sign some paperwork because, shocker, Atlas couldn't qualify on his own. I said yes, trying to be the loyal idiot they raised me to be. I'm still stuck on that lease. Meanwhile, Atlas is out there living like royalty, free rent, bills magically paid by our parents, not a single worry in sight. And me? I never saw a cent. Back then, I let it slide. But now I'm ready to lose it. And let's not forget Rosalie, my sweet backstabbing ex-fiancée. She owes me cash too, not life-changing money, but enough to make it sting. We split a bunch of costs. Moving, furniture, future plans. She said she'd Venmo me her half, always tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow's been missing for a year. Now every time I scroll past those old "I'll pay you soon" texts, I want to hurl my phone through the nearest wall. That's when my head switched modes, from heartbroken pushover to, screw this, I'm done being the family punching bag. I can't guilt these fools into growing a conscience, but I can absolutely cut off the free labor pipeline they've been milking for years. I pulled open my inbox and started digging through old emails, bills, screenshots, every boring document my mom ever sent me about the rental. I started making a list. This wasn't about childish revenge. I wasn't planning to slash tires or pour bleach in shampoo bottles. I was going after what really hurts. Their wallets, their comfort, and their precious public image. And as I kept digging, I realized how much crap I'd swallowed over the years. They all assumed I'd never say a word, that I'd always be the good one. That was their fatal mistake. So I started making moves, real ones. I didn't want to just disappear quietly so they could pretend I never existed. Nah. I wanted them to feel it. I wanted them to sit in the mess they made and know it came back to bite them. I talked to a friend who knows property law. Just casual advice, nothing shady. Turns out since I'm still on the rental paperwork, I can legally force a sale. If I pull out, they either buy me out or it goes on the market. Guess who can't afford that? Mr. Rent-Free Atlas and my parents? Always broke from bailing out their golden boy, so I wrote a draft email. Just letting you know, I'm withdrawing from the property. You've got 30 days, handle it. Haven't sent it yet, but it's coming. TikTok. And Rosalie? She's not skating away either. I dug up every text where she promised to pay me back, turned them into a PDF with screenshots, and sent it with a message. Here's what you owe. I want it by month's end. She read it. Said nothing. Just tapped the little heart on the message like some passive-aggressive clown. Then the mutual friends started crawling out of the woodwork. Not all at once, just those fake concerned texts like, "Hey bro, sorry about all that, but maybe just move on. They seem really happy." They seem happy? Cool. So cheating and betrayal are fine now, as long as the traitors are smiling. I asked one guy, "Do you actually think what they did is okay?" He says, "IDK, man. Atlas said you'd kind of checked out anyway." Oh, really? That's the narrative now? The loser brother claims I wasn't invested, and suddenly he's the victim? That's always their play. Act like I wasn't good enough, so they can excuse stabbing me in the back. I wasn't having it. I started sending those fake friends the receipts, actual screenshots of the messages, the payments, the timeline. Not because I wanted drama, just to clear the air and stop the lies. Most of them ghosted. A few actually responded. One goes, "Wow, had no idea it was that bad." Another hit me with, "Tough break, dude." Yeah, real heartwarming stuff. Thanks for the overwhelming support. Then, out of nowhere, my cousin Helen, aka my mom's loyal parrot, messaged me, all bright and chipper. "You should really just let this go and find someone better." I replied, "I'm done playing family mascot." "Count me out." She goes, "Okay, but don't make it weird for everyone." So I said, "It's weird for them? I'm the one who got kicked to the curb, remember?" She shot back a full essay about how family is complicated. I didn't even bother replying. Left her on red. Stay mad. So yeah, no. I'm not making friends through this. I don't care. I started purging my socials. Unfollowed every idiot cheering on Atlas and Rosalie's love story. Blocked every guilt tripper trying to keep the peace. My circle's small now, but at least it's not full of snakes. The craziest part? Watching how fast those two clowns played house. They moved in together like it was nothing. Didn't skip a beat. A neighbor told me they're already throwing get-togethers, like their betrayal came with a housewarming party. My mom? She dropped off a casserole like she was feeding newlyweds. My dad? Telling anyone who'll listen that Atlas is finally growing up. These people live in a fantasy world. I think they expected me to just vanish quietly, fade into the background while they celebrated their little betrayal. Too bad for them. I don't disappear. I know exactly what keeps them comfortable. Fake peace, cushy routines, and looking like a happy family from the outside. And I know exactly where to pull to make that whole illusion fall apart. I'm not breaking any laws. I'm not out here smashing their windows or lighting their house on fire. I'm just reclaiming what's mine and making sure their life isn't on easy mode anymore. So here's the plan. I'm hitting send on that property email. I'm going after what Rosalie owes me. Every last cent. I'm laying it out to our so-called mutual friends, so nobody gets to rewrite the story and paint me as the villain. I'm not shouting. I'm just making myself impossible to ignore. They wanted to act like I never mattered? Cool. I'm going to make sure they feel exactly how wrong they were. I figured sending that email about the property would be no big deal, just another boring task to check off. Turns out, I was wildly mistaken. 5 minutes later, my phone lights up. Dad's calling. Declined. Then come the texts. First mom, then Atlas, then dad again. Guess I finally got their attention. Stuff like, "What are you doing? Why now? Let's talk." I let them sit there on read. Took a long walk instead, threw on a dusty playlist I hadn't touched in years. The cold hit harder than usual, kind of fitting, honestly. Eventually, I picked up one of my dad's million missed calls. Mostly because if I didn't, I knew he'd show up banging on my door like a lunatic. He jumps in with, "This is insane. You're being childish." I said, "I'm done being your free pass. I'm off the paperwork. You've got 30 days to buy me out or it goes on the market." He started begging, said Atlas couldn't handle that, said I was throwing the whole family into chaos. I said, "You made your bed. Now lie in it." Then came Mom. Her text was pure venom. "You always do this. Ruin things for everyone." I hit back. "I'm not the one who trashed everything. I'm just not cleaning up after you anymore." She called me selfish. I set my phone down and made a sandwich like nothing happened. Later that night, Atlas tried calling. I picked up. I wanted to hear what kind of BS he'd feed me. He opens with, "Dude, seriously? You're gonna do this over one mistake. We're family." I told him, "You don't get to screw me over and keep the perks. Pick a lane." He got heated, said I was blowing everything up, called me bitter. I said, "You could always grow up, get a real job, and maybe pay rent like a normal person." Then he pulled the jealous card. "You're just mad because she chose me." I laughed in his face and hung up. He called again. I let it ring. Next morning, I messaged Rosalie. Sent the PDF. Screenshots. Every cent she owes. Said, "I want this handled by the end of the month or I'm taking it to court." She read it. Took her sweet time, then hit me with, "Wow. You're seriously being this petty?" I responded with the payment summary. No words. No reaction from her after that. Cue the guilt text group thread from my parents. "We're still your family. You're better than this. Why are you doing this to us?" Didn't respond. Then Cousin Helen calls me out of nowhere, always the flying monkey for my mom. She starts with, "Everyone's saying you're tearing this family apart." I said, "Maybe they shouldn't have picked sides like cowards." She goes, "It's not black and white." I said, "Actually, it is." Then I hung up. That chat I was still in with some mutuals started heating up. Someone dropped a screenshot from Atlas's story, vague crap about snakes and fake loyalty. So I posted the receipts. No caption, just truth. I messaged a few of them directly. "If you're still playing footsie with Atlas and Rosalie, cool, but don't bring their drama near me." Some left the group. One guy messaged me privately. "I get it now, sorry." Doesn't fix it, but yeah. Then the nightly call routine started, like clockwork. Sometimes dad, sometimes mom. sometimes both tag-teaming the guilt. Dad tried every angle, reason, anger, even legal threats. Told me he'd sue me if I forced the property sale. I told him, go ahead, I'm well within my rights. Should have thought about that before screwing me over. He lost it. I hung up. Mom tried the emotional play, sobbing, wailing, full performance mode. Said I was the one destroying everything. I told her, you lit that match the second you backed Atlas instead of me. She slammed the phone down like a dramatic teenager. One night, Atlas decides to show up uninvited at my friend's apartment like a deranged stalker. I never told a soul where I was staying, so how he even found out is beyond me. He starts hammering on the door, shouting like a lunatic. My friend opens it and tells him to get lost, but this idiot just barges in like he owns the place. I meet him in the hallway. He stomps right up, puffed out like a dollar store tough guy. You're not ruining my life over this, he growls. I laughed in his face. Pretty sure you wrecked it all by yourself. He shoved me. I shoved him back. My friend stepped in before it turned into a full-on brawl and tossed him out. Atlas kicked the door on his way out like a toddler mid-tantrum. Minutes later, I get a message from Mommy Dearest. Atlas told me everything. You're out of control, I replied. If he shows his face again, I'm calling the cops. She hits back with, don't threaten your family. I said, then control your little golden boy. From then on, it was nonstop. Every day, a new guilt trip. My dad rings me up to say, you don't understand what you're doing. This is bigger than you. I told him, that's your mess, not mine. My mom texted me some crap like, you used to be the good one. I hit back, still am. Just not your personal doormat anymore. Rosalie finally sent me the money she owed. After I hit her with a formal demand letter, she paid in 2 chunks and blocked me afterward like the coward she is. A week later, she posted some cryptic nonsense on Instagram. Sometimes you learn who your real friends are. Groundbreaking stuff. Meanwhile, the property situation dragged on for weeks. My parents kept begging for a sit-down to talk it through. I shut it down. There's nothing left to say. They tried the usual guilt tricks, old photo albums, childhood stories, fake nostalgia. I didn't bite. Then, get this, a lawyer calls me. Yep, they actually sent their lawyer to try and talk me out of it. I said, this isn't personal, this is business. 30 days or it hits the market. Cue my dad flipping out, calls me ungrateful. Says he regrets ever putting my name on the documents. I said, cool. Now you know how it feels to be treated like an afterthought. Click. Then came the backlash. Family friends stopped inviting me to things. My aunt shot me a message that said, hope you're happy with yourself. Blocked. A couple cousins checked in with a weak, we're here if you ever want to talk. I replied, I'm good. And then, the moment I'd been waiting for, my parents caved. They couldn't buy me out. So the property went up for sale. Atlas called me practically begging. I'll pay rent, okay? Just take it down. I said, you've mooched off everyone long enough. Figure it out like a grown-up, he snapped. I'll never forgive you for this, I said. Great. I stopped caring what you think 3 betrayals ago. When the realtor finally planted that for sale sign in the yard, my mom texted, hope this was worth it. I didn't answer. That night, I chilled with my friend, crushed some takeout, and watched trash YouTube videos. We didn't even talk about it. We just laughed at dumb movies like it was any other night. Word got around that Rosalie and Atlas were already arguing. Surprise. Playing house wasn't quite the fantasy they thought. My parents were melting down, trying to juggle the property sale while pretending to everyone else that everything was fine. I saw a few of my mom's posts on Facebook. Vague captions, sad filters, nothing direct, just desperation leaking through the screen. The best part? I didn't lie. I didn't scheme. I didn't go nuclear. I just stopped making their lives convenient. I stopped being the fixer, the bill payer, the secret keeper, the excuse maker. I let the consequences hit the people who deserved them. 3 months in, the place sold. Atlas got evicted from his freeloading paradise. My parents lost their little side hustle income. I got my cut. Not life-changing, but solid. Rosalie bailed too. Last I heard, she went crawling back to her old place. The family group chat, dead. My mom sent one last Hail Mary email, pages of guilt, fake forgiveness, blah blah family. I never opened it. I'm not saying it felt amazing, but it felt right. I didn't get revenge. I just stopped showing up for people who made it clear I didn't matter. Now they get to figure out life without their human band-aid, And before anyone jumps in with, "This is too harsh," save it. You don't get to burn someone and then cry when they don't bring you a low. I'm not finished yet either. There are still a few final truths I plan on dropping before I block them for good. I knew they'd be pissed. I just didn't realize how fast the whole fake family tower would come crashing down. It was weird at first, eerie silence. The minute the property deal closed, they went full radio ghost. Like, ignoring me long enough might somehow erase what happened. I stayed out of their orbit. No profile creeping, no conversations with flying monkeys. I figured that was the end. Then, like clockwork, they realized I wasn't coming back. Dad started first. Weak little texts. "Hey, call me." Got a minute? Left him on read. Every time. Mom followed with some dramatic monologue about family values and me holding grudges. I sent one word. No. That's when the real circus kicked off. My cousin Helen, who usually talks slower than molasses, calls me rambling at 100 miles per hour. She goes, "Grandma's stressed. My parents are always yelling, and Atlas moved back in." "It's a disaster," I said. "Sounds like a them problem." She asks, "Don't you feel even a little bad?" I said, "Not even a little bit." Click. Naturally, Atlas comes next. Tried calling. I ignored him. So he sends this mile-long guilt text. "You happy now? You ruined everything. Hope it was worth it. Whatever." Didn't even flinch. He called again. I picked up. He started barking nonsense. I hung up. He called again and left a voicemail. And I kid you not, it was just heavy breathing for like 30 seconds. No words, just breathing. Yep, that's the level of maturity we're working with. Ladies and gentlemen, the better man she chose. Then my mom dropped a group message, just me, her, and my dad. The kind of text you can practically hear her sniffling through. She wrote, "Please, you're all we have left. It's not the same without you." Classic guilt bait. She wanted a big heart-to-heart, one of those dramatic family meetings. I didn't even bother replying. Then my dad chimed in, trying to be the reasonable one. "Your brother messed up, but you're blowing this way out of proportion. We can fix it." I texted back, "There's nothing to fix. You picked your side." Aunt Sarah got involved next. She called me up all high and mighty and said, "You need to cut this out. Your parents are drained. Atlas is falling apart, and people are starting to ask questions." I said, "Maybe they should have thought about that before they lit the match." She got snippy. "You're punishing everyone for something that wasn't even about you," I shot back. "It's always been about me. You just didn't bother to care until it started hitting your wallets." She hung up, predictably. Later, a mutual friend hit me up. Turns out Rosalie dumped Atlas and blocked him on everything. Moved out, vanished. Word is she told people Atlas was a fraud and my mom was a nightmare. Honestly, not shocked in the slightest. Atlas skated through life on being the golden boy, but without people handing him free passes, the guy's unbearable. I heard he tried to crash on a buddy's couch and got shut down. Guess freeloading has an expiration date. Now my parents won't stop calling. I'm talking every single day, sometimes multiple times a day, just begging me to talk. Pathetic. My dad even had the audacity to show up at my friend's place. Just stood on the porch, yelling my name like a lunatic. My friend texted me from his room. "Dude, your dad's outside. Should I call the cops?" I ignored it. Eventually, the old man left. Then came the flood of emails. Pages and pages of "family is everything. We just want the best for you. We hope you can come home." Blah, blah, blah. I just hit archive every time. At this point, they're not even trying to reach me. They're trying to convince each other they're good parents. I know the drill. Get me back under the roof, and it's back to the usual script. Atlas is the king, and I'm the loyal janitor mopping up his crap. Yeah, not this time. 2 weeks ago, the money from the property hit my account. First thing I did, paid off some major bills. Second, got my own place. Quiet, clean, mine. I didn't give them the address. Don't plan to. My circle's microscopic now. Just a few solid people. No family. And you know what's crazy? The silence. My life has never been this peaceful. Once in a while, the circus still tries to pull me back in. One day, my dad tried to hit me with the nuclear guilt trip. "If something happens to your mother, it's on you." I texted back one word. "Don't." He didn't respond. Then my mom gave it another shot. "We just want to talk." I hit her with, "You've talked enough." There's a bunch more I could say, like how I ran into Atlas at the grocery store and he looked away like a coward. How my mom tried to corner me at the gas station and I just drove off. how my dad sent a text ranting about real men standing together. But honestly, it's all white noise now. My whole life, I was treated like the extra piece. They only remembered me when they needed something. Atlas got away with everything because mommy and daddy always told him he could, and they let him. Because he was the one they were betting on. So I ended the game, because they never would have. No, I'm not saying I'm healed or that I discovered some deep life truth. I'm still mad, but I'm not sorry. If you're reading this and thinking, but they're still your family, let me say it loud. Being related doesn't give people the right to treat you like garbage. Sometimes the only way to win is to walk away. I don't care what comes next. They can keep calling, texting, emailing, begging. I'm not answering. They wanted to crown a winner? Well, now they can deal with what that actually looks like. That's it. No apology, no happy ending, just done.